So, before commencing with today's podcast, we would like to play a video for you prepared by the students of NSS NCU on the occasion of National Girl Child Day.
घर की जान होती हैं बेटियां, पिता का गुमान होती हैं बेटियां,
ईश्वर का आशीर्वाद होती हैं बेटियां, यूं समझ लो कि बेमिसाल होती हैं बेटियां।
बेटों से ज्यादा वफादार होती हैं बेटियां, माँ के कामों में मददगार होती हैं बेटियां।
बेटियों की आंखें कभी नम न होने देना, जिंदगी में उनकी खुशियां कम न होने देना।
बेटियों को हमेशा हौसला देना, परेशान ना होने देना, और बेटा बेटी में फर्क होता है, खुद को कभी ये भरम ना होने देना।
A very warm welcome to each one of you present here today. This is another episode of the podcast Samvad. This episode is being delivered under the project Nari on the occasion of National Girl Child Day. I am Vaishnavi Sharma, the social media head at Noor, the mental health wing of NSS.
And I am Ishita Parashar, a volunteer of NSS student chapter, the North Cap University. Our guest for today is Sanjoli Banerjee, a 22-year-old social activist. She is an ANU graduate. At 22, she has become the founder of Sushiksha, the director of the NGO Sarthi, a Diana Awardee, a Global Changemaker Awardee, and a UN Awardee. With such accomplishments under her belt, she has also adopted the village Darar in Karnal district of Haryana. And recently, she has launched her own talk show that would be centered around youth that give a hope for better tomorrow, much like herself. This person has done incredible and unprecedented work in the field of gender equality and has fought social evils like female feticide.
Sanjoli has relentlessly contributed towards saving the girl child, promoting education among children, especially girls, and ending taboos surrounding the topic of menstruation. I hope that we all can learn something from her excellence, work ethic, and empathy. And thus, over to you, Sanjoli. How are you holding up?
Hi, thank you very much for having me today, and a very happy National Girl Child Day to everyone, especially beautiful women out here. I'm very glad and pleased to be here among you all, and I am looking forward to a great, meaningful conversation.
Thank you so much, Sanjoli. So, without any further ado, we'll just start with our podcast. So,
Sure.
my first question for you would be like, I'll try and start with the conversation with the like. Would you like to tell our listeners more about your 16 years of journey in the field of social work, and like what exactly struck a chord with the 5-year-old Sanjoli that pushed her forward on this path?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. So basically, my introduction to activism was at the age of 5, as you mentioned, and that happened after my mother was actually expecting my younger sister, Ananya, and a lot of people actually, some of our acquaintances and extended relatives pressured my mom to go for an abortion because she was expecting another daughter, and they thought that two daughters would be a liability, a burden for our parents, and since girls are quite unsafe in India, our father would have to become a bodyguard for us, and therefore they pressured her. However, my mother stood strong, and literally at the last moment, and both my parents rushed away from the hospital and saved Ananya. So she was born, and when my parents went through that entire experience, was, when you face it personally is when you shook actually. And that's when my father decided to do something about it, to speak up against it, and he launched the Beti Bachao, or the Save Daughters campaign, in 2004. And that is also when we celebrated India's first Lori Beti Ke Naam. So Lori is a North Indian festival, you must be aware, most of you. So that generally, or like traditionally, is celebrated to rejoice the birth of a son. And we changed the notion, and we were like, why don't we welcome the birth of a girl child as well? So that was my first time, and since then, I never looked back. I mean, at 5, I did not realize how powerful this was or what I was doing. I just knew that, there was something wrong that was happening, and we're trying to confront it. And I would recite poems on different public places. So I had a poem in English that my father had penned down, and then a poem in English. And I used to go to public places. We used to organize street plays, road shows, cycle rallies, all these events. And most of my childhood went like that. So now that I look back, I feel, okay, this was something uncommon or unusual. But then I thought that, okay, this is a normal childhood. I think everybody does that. So it's rather interesting. And I'm proud of these 16, 17 years of work. We started from Beti Bachao, but we've since then covered environment. So we launched a campaign on environment, and then education for all, then mental health, and now menstrual hygiene. So yeah.
That's incredible, I
That was
must
really
say.
inspiring. Exactly.
Thank
And
you.
I must say that, every part of your life, it gives me goosebumps whenever I hear about it.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
so talking about these, initiatives that you've taken since such a young age,
Yeah.
they would have taken more than courage and determination, Sanjoli. How did you find enough empathy in you that you were and still are, ready to dedicate these years of your life, especially they are called the peak of someone's life, when most people your age are happy to be enjoying their lives in ignorant bliss.
Sure. So here, I'd like to point out two things. One, I'd not really compare myself with others because that would be unfair somewhere. When I say, ki, all right, I am doing this, but while others are living in ignorant bliss. I mean, it's there's a time when everyone realizes, or finds their purpose, or there's a famous book called Ikigai. So they find their Ikigai, or they find their why, as Viktor Frankl points out in his book. So all these things. But there's a time. I was lucky that I found it very early on, thanks to my parents, that I was introduced to this, then I experienced it firsthand. And actually, it was after college that I realized that this was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Since childhood, whatever I'd been doing, it was because my parents had introduced me to it. So I was doing it more as a hobby, or generally something as a side thing, along with your career or academics. It was actually in college, when I realized that I didn't want to do anything else but social service and activism. And yeah, so I think this is all one that I've been lucky to find it early on, and others might find it.
I feel we are facing a network issue from Sanjoli's end. Is it the same with you, Ishita?
Yes, I think there's a network issue, but um,
Hello.
yes, Sanjoli, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Did you lose me in between?
Yeah,
Yes.
network issue from your end, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, it should be fine now. So yeah, I was saying I owe it to the upbringing I've had majorly. Both my parents are teachers, and we've had that kind of an environment at home where we never watched TV for 14 years. I was 16 or 17 when I watched TV for the first time, and we still don't have a TV connection at home. I never went to the cinema hall for again 15, 16 years. And the first movie I saw at cinema hall was Satyagrah, and the second was Arakshan. So it was all like, I have had that kind of upbringing at home, where we used to rather, read books and talk to people and go out in the community instead of, engaging in other things. So one that is also, so I found, as you asked me, how did I find my empathy? I think that was one, because of upbringing. Second, the values I've developed over time. I strongly believe in service, and I believe there's nothing more gratifying than that. I don't think there's anything better than that. In the way, we are youth, and it's not just, a lot of people say कि, social work करने से satisfaction मिलती है. You find satisfaction after serving others. It's not just about satisfaction, because when you say that, you're also being selfish somewhere. You're finding your own peace and satisfaction. But I believe social activism, or just being a responsible citizen, is our responsibility. As citizens, because we are social and political beings, we are supposed to do this. And we are like youth of today. We are educated. We are more privileged than ever. So these are my values, and I think that is why I've also gotten on this journey. And then I've come to realize my privileges, and I believe in sharing my privileges, using my privileges to do something better. So all of those things, I think, that have led me on this path, and I continue to do it.
Great. That's very interesting. Sanjoli, I just have one issue, that you're not visible like to our audience. So would you like to rejoin or connect with a different device?
Am I still not visible?
No, you are not.
You're just audible, you're not visible.
Oh, I see. Let me try that again. Just a second.
Sure.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
That's all right. It's okay.
It's completely fine.
Am I visible?
Yeah, you are.
Awesome.
We can
Sorry,
continue.
actually, I had a meeting somewhere and I'm out, so that's this whole issue.
It's okay. No,
Yeah.
no.
Um, so, to sum up your answer, it's what you just said. It is not about the satisfaction that you get after doing it. It's about the restlessness that is there when you do not, you're not an aware citizen or a responsible citizen, basically. So that
Yeah.
was an interesting answer, and we got to learn a lot. Over
Yeah.
to you, Vaishnavi.
Yeah, so my next question is an interesting one. So we just saw your documentaries, that is Beti and Earth in Flames. So, like, could you witness the impact your documentaries had at that time? And how much of a difference do you feel they would have made if they were to be released today?
Oh, very, very interesting. So yes, we made two documentaries. So the first one, Beti, was on female feticide, and that was directed by my father. The second one, called Earth in Flames, was on environmental conservation and the issue of climate change, and that I directed it. I gave my narration, and we worked on it together. So the former was released in 2004, or 2005. The other one was in 2009. That's about a decade ago, actually more than a decade ago. And yes, it was very different then as it is now. We are in the era of social media, and I definitely believe had it been released now, it would reach maybe a larger audience, especially youth. So we did not have that then. However, I am like happy to say, and I'm satisfied with what it did then. We happened to screen it across different places. We used to screen Beti in different villages, and places where we could actually send out the message to sensitize masses. So Beti did not reach as many people, and it still hasn't. But the second one, Earth in Flames, we got its CDs made. We used to have CDs then, so we got its CDs made, and we distributed about 500 CDs free of cost to different people across 7 states of India. So I, with my parents and a few volunteers of Sarthi, we happened to go on a road expedition across these states from like Haryana, Delhi, MP, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, all these places by road for 2 weeks. We were there covering 5,000 kilometers. We used to stop at different villages and schools and colleges, and we used to play this documentary there. And so that documentary basically encompassed the problem, what we as individuals can do, and what are the effects of climate change, all of that. So that really helped convey our message through audiovisual means. So it was great reaching those many states then. It was great, and I'm happy and I'm proud of that. But yes, definitely, as we move forward, technology improves. We are in advancing times, so we hope that we can utilize the power of social media and take this message across more people in the future.
The minute, Sanjoli, I heard about you struggling, like giving out DVDs and CDs to people, that just like gave me goosebumps. It was really incredible learning about whatever you did to like aware people out there in villages and rural India. So that's commendable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's time for a game, and the rules are pretty basic. It
Okay.
is we'll give you the name of certain social activists, and you'll have to tell us the first word that comes to your mind when you hear about them.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, so my first name is Greta Thunberg.
Oh, climate activist, and very young climate activist. So yeah.
Lakshmi Agarwal.
Oh, she is amazing. She's resilient. She is enduring. She's a star. She's a hero. I would say she's a hero.
Kailash Satyarthi.
Nobel Prize and child rights.
Malala Yousafzai.
Inspirational and very, very resilient.
So now we have Sonu Sood.
COVID hero.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Gloria Steinem.
I'm not sure who that is.
All right. The next we have
Sundarlal Bahuguna.
Oh, definitely environment champion and a trailblazer.
Angelina Jolie.
Celebrity with a purpose.
Yeah, perfect. So you did really well, Sanjoli.
Should I get it go?
So now my next question is based upon Girl Child. not particularly on girl child, but on all among all genders. So my question for you is like, how intersectional does our approach need to be in bringing about equality among all genders today?
I'm glad you brought this up. The idea of intersectionality, very important, yet not talked about as much. So intersectionality, I believe a lot of you must know, but for those who don't, it's actually where different aspects of our identity, they intersect at a point. So it can be your race, your class, your caste, your income levels, your nationality, your gender, your a lot of these things. And the higher one is, the more privileged you are. So for example, if we talk about India, a male Hindu upper caste from an affluent family might be the most privileged. So these are all intersectionalities. Now, when we talk about equality, we generally tend to forget that what kind of equality are we talking about? Are we talking about equality for all genders? So does it include LGBTQ and women and others equally? Are we, when we talk, even when we talk about feminism, I always say this, we just think it is, about women, and it's the responsibility of men to work towards it. It's actually not that. Feminism is a very controversial, mistaken word, and it needs, or it demands, the responsibility of both men and women equally. Again, with intersectionality and gender equality, we need to understand. Today, if I just talk about India, there is a section of society, that is growing, that is changing, that has the access to technology and devices and exposure to the outer world. We can watch videos, we can watch documentaries on Netflix and get aware. We can afford to have friends from different countries and just open our horizons of thinking. But then there's another, so the like another section of society that still cannot even own a mobile phone. They still do not have access to information. They still do not know what's happening outside their village, let alone the city or country. So we need to take all of these things together. So be it in research, be it while making policies, be it while devising solutions for these causes, we need to take all of them together and understand intersectionality and make a more inclusive space, where we consider all of them. So to put it briefly, I think I can say this. I cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
Vaishnavi, you're muted.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. So that's great. Also, you just briefed about what basically intersectionality is. So that was very invaluable. So yeah, Ishita, you can come forward with your question now.
Okay, so you've had a long experience, working with rural India and people there. So, in your experience, we know that all your initiatives have taken great strides for the betterment. But what, according to you, is the most pressing concern with respect to what women have to go through every day in rural India?
Sure. Yes, I've been fortunate, I'd say, to work in rural India, and I absolutely love Indian villages. I love the Indian rural space, and that is also one reason that I left Australia and came back to India. I was more than excited to work in these spaces. With women in rural India, I mean, women at large have to face challenges on a daily basis, whether they are from urban or rural areas. But specifically, to respect your question, from rural areas, I think one is lack of awareness. I think it's the biggest pressing issue that they face today. Just where to go to seek help, when to speak up, how to speak up, just knowing their own rights. These basic things, awareness, is the biggest weapon one can have, actually. So ignorance can be very dangerous, and that is one thing I definitely have observed, that a lot of women today do not know what is right or wrong. If they're getting beaten up by their husband, they think, okay, maybe this is normal. This is something every woman has to go through. But it's not that. Until we take information to them, until we make them aware, until we give them alternatives. So if they have to step out of a toxic marriage, they must be financially dependent. So having access to resources. So it's like a whole cyclic thing, so there is a lot of need to work at rural places with women. I appreciate, a lot of more organizations are working with women, but somewhere we're not directly working with women at grassroots. That is somewhere lacking, and I hope the government, the administration, and young people like us, have more initiatives at the rural level where we can target these women, whether it's just, opening skill development centers or educating them. A lot of them never went to school. So opening adult education programs, or talking to them, and like supporting them to open self-help groups. So microfinancing, these are lots of things, lots of potential, at the rural level. So yeah.
Thank you, Sanjoli, for that answer. And the Brahmanical patriarchy that we are living in, that our families are based upon, it has become a norm, obviously, and that is precisely why we do not, we're not aware, and people who are not made aware, they remain unaware. Ki, nahi, this is
Yes, well said.
okay. So Vaishnavi.
Yeah. So, like, just to break the monotonous tone of the podcast, we have another small game. It's like we would like to have a small rapid fire round with you. And the catch is basically that you have to answer these questions in one word or one sentence, not more than that.
Do I get a hamper after this?
You will when we meet, sure, for sure.
I'm
When we
kidding.
collaborate with
All right, let's do this.
Okay, the first one is your mantra for peace.
Okay. Do you want honest answers or impressive answers?
Very honest one.
Candid, honest.
Okay, say the question again, please.
Your mantra for peace.
All is well. That's the mantra for peace. But otherwise, it's mostly reflection and meditation. I do that, but I'm not very disciplined. I want to do meditation more, but I do a lot of reflection, and that's very helpful. So yeah.
Great. So, second is if you could describe yourself in 3 words.
All right, I'm great. 3 words, I'm great. But or the other could be like on a serious note, I am a deep thinker. As I said, I reflect a lot, so I'm a deep thinker. I'm very passionate. So if I pick up a thing, I have to do it very well. And I'd say I'm a seeker. I'd say I'm a learner. I'm a seeker. So I love experiencing new things. So just for the sake of a new experience, I try out new things. So yes, three words. Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, a person dead or alive you would like to launch a campaign in collaboration with.
Oh, that's a tricky one. I'm not sure if I'd like to do a campaign with them, because not sure, but like they're my inspiration, and that is Baba Amte. Unfortunately, he's no more in this world, but I wish I could have met him, and just learned from him, spending some time with him, learn, because he worked for leprosy patients, and I mean that is next level of dedication. So very, very inspiring.
Okay. So, a piece of advice that you would like to give to your 5-year-old self?
Oh, maybe it would be believe in possibilities. As young kids, we are stressed about a lot of things. And in hindsight, I'd say believe in possibilities.
Okay, your 3 pillars of strength.
3 pillars would be my past, my present, and maybe the idea of my future. So 3 pillars of strength. So in the past, I'm proud of where I've come. I have no regrets. I'm very happy with all the pitfalls or mistakes I made. And the present is great. I'm happy, and I hold an idea for the future, so that keeps me running. So these are pillars of strength here.
Interesting.
So, your favorite memory in these 16 years of social work?
Oh, that's difficult to pick one, but I'd say maybe the Sushiksha annual function. We did this in 2020, I think, or 2021 actually, just last year. And it was while the Corona thing had relaxed a bit, so we took that time to organize our annual function at Sushiksha. And it was our first time, and it was a massive event. Went very well, and I felt like a proud mother to my Sushiksha kids. So it was amazing.
Great.
Okay. What is a dream of yours that you've yet to accomplish?
Lots of dreams. I'm very ambitious. On a personal level, I want to author a book. So that might be happening soon, and I'll let you know so you buy my book and read it. But on also societal level, I hold dreams for the society, and that is, one where everyone can live a dignified life. That sounds simple, but it's very difficult, and I hope that happens one day.
Okay, so the last question is
Okay.
one quality that you admired the most about your parents.
Oh, about my parents. I'm a big fan of my parents, and I owe a lot to them. Um, one one quality is that they're very visionary, and which is also why they led us into this. They groomed us in a certain manner, so they're very visionary and they're very very supportive. They've never drawn us back or never clipped our wings. So very grateful to them.
After this podcast, we are also big fans of them. I
Yeah,
truly,
truly.
yeah.
You know,
They had to be here and they wanted to listen to this, but they got occupied somewhere. Otherwise, they would have loved your conversation, like hearing me, everything. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure they can always listen to it on YouTube. Um,
absolutely.
yes. Also, before this, before we conducted the interview, we had a small talk with you, and you were saying rapid. You were really nervous about this game. You were really nervous about having a rapid fire because you're a long talker. You did well.
Yeah,
You did well. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. I'm glad because I'm just not used to rapid fire things. So, yes, exactly as you said, I'm not a small talker. So, but I tried. You said answer in one word. I still didn't answer in one word. So,
Okay. Well,
Baby steps. Baby steps.
yes.
Okay.
Great. I really enjoyed it.
All right. So, getting back to the questions, what makes you different than the rest of the youth in terms of service and giving back to the community?
Right. Now, this again zeroes down to the same thing, what I said before. It's just the idea of purpose, I think, somewhere is one thing that sets me apart. But again, I also believe that I'm so similar to everyone else that, we all go through daily struggles. Whether it's youth or elders, we all go through daily struggles and we are all brave in our own ways. It's just, but I am a little different, I'd say, or something that sets apart is my route of basically leading my life. So, a lot of us feel for a lot of causes in the society, right? You might feel for animals, someone else might feel for peace. There are 1,000 different topics, and everyone has their own way. Someone expresses it through art, the other one through theater. A lot of people, so not everyone raises slogans on the road. But so that is one thing. I mean, we need to understand and also celebrate ourselves that what we are. First of all, applaud yourself that you are doing great. Second, if you do not already work for a cause, if you've not picked up a cause, maybe it's never too late. Just do that now, and pick up what route you want to take. So mine was activism. Mine was standing out on the roads, doing events, speaking about it, sensitizing people. So these are a few things that set me apart. And on a lighter note, I think I do not know how to make a reel. So I'm very bad at technology. I'm very bad at social media. And I just use social media. Actually, I made Instagram account just a year or two ago just to put out my work out there. So this is something a lot of people tell me that I'm an oldie already. So that way, a lot of people might find me boring also because I don't attend parties. I don't go out as much. Whenever I'm out, I'm always talking about my work, about ideas, about deep topics, religion and state and all of that. So these are a few things also that make me unique and set me apart a bit. So yeah.
I mean, you've rightly said, I was going through your Instagram captions, and it is like a long book in itself. Like, I mean, the ideas are so mature, you don't expect them from a 22-year-old. But thank you for that answer, Sanjoli.
Thank you.
So, as we all know that you've recently adopted the village Darar in your hometown Karnal,
Yes.
and you've made great initiatives for its betterment. Like, would you like to shed some light upon the campaign Sushiksha, empowerment through education and its objectives?
Absolutely. So yes, I adopted this village along with my sister into 2018. I was studying at ANU at that time, and I happened to go on a semester exchange to University of Sheffield, UK. And just it was just another day, and I was cooking in my kitchen, and I realized, and since I said, I reflect a lot, I just realized, how privileged I was to be living in three countries by the age of 19, and to be gaining world class education. And this is something not everyone, actually, not like most of the people in India don't get the opportunity to do that. And that idea of privilege hit me. And I thought, okay, what's the best way of making change? And because I come from a family of teachers, I have always believed in the power of a classroom. I was like, how about opening a school? And I started Googling. I was like, how do we open a school in India? I called up a few friends. I was like, help me out with official work, paperwork, what needs to be done. And it's a little cumbersome to do all of that in India. I was like, okay, I do not have that much money. I cannot wait because I'm very restless. I have to get this done at the earliest and start working. And I was like, let's open a mobile school. So it does not require money, it does not need place. It is a mobile school, and mobile means you always moving. So we chose this village because we started our Beti Bachao campaigns and a lot of that. So we were very well connected with the village. We understood its needs, its background. So Ananya and I, my younger sister, both of us, so I came back to India, and in 2019 we founded Sushiksha together, and we happened to do a survey. We did a needs assessment of on how the government school there was, what was lacking, what could be done better, what the students needed, all of that. And then we launched this. So since then, it's been about 2 years now, and we've taught more than 150 kids. And it's not an ordinary school, where we just focus on textual knowledge. It's actually a holistic education model where we introduce kids to dance, to sports, to art and craft, public speaking, and most importantly, social awareness. So, in our Indian education system, we generally don't talk about social issues. So we tell them, we invite experts, we invite doctors to speak to them about issues like mental health, menstrual hygiene, about nutrition, taking care of your teeth, self-defense, as basic as that. So it's been great, and kids have learned a lot. They've grown a lot. They love coming to the school. It's a weekend school, and we've changed 4 locations since then. We have taught in Gurdwara Sahib, we've taught in temple courtyards, we've taught in fields. So it's like we've survived winters, we've survived fog, rains, everything, and we've never stopped. We even survived COVID. So just during the lockdown, we were shut. Otherwise, entirely during the pandemic, we would be running with respecting COVID protocol, calling them in shifts, in batches. So we've been supported by our volunteers, people like you, young minds, very energetic people, and they've come and volunteered. They've trained kids. So it's been great, and I'm very proud of something like this. So yeah.
So, on a personal note, I'm also from Karnal. My hometown is also Karnal. I've been born in Karnal. So, seeing you, people like you, I feel so encouraged and so motivated. And obviously, people like me here, sitting here, we are also volunteers working for NSS, working for our university. I feel so much encouraged from you. That's incredible, Sanjoli. You've
Thank
done so
you.
much at such a young age, so that's incredible.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so you talked about how restless you are in your last answer. When you get an idea, you have to keep going until you are through with it. So, how do you keep yourself sane? Even after you're working so closely with the society, that is developing in many senses. It's developing at an excruciatingly slow rate. So how do you keep yourself sane in that environment?
Yes, absolutely. Not a lot of people have asked me this question in other interviews. I'm glad we are talking not just about my work, but also about, the personal things. And one takeaway, or not one, actually, a few takeaways for the audience today would be, and these things I've learned over time, I've taken my time to understand this. I've not been perfect or sorted always. One is you need to understand that there won't be a moment ever, neither in history nor in future, that everything would be fine, there would be no problem. This is never going to happen. So when you understand this, okay, at least this has happened. Okay, at least the people are not thinking in a certain manner. They've changed their mentality, their attitude. Okay, at least this is happening better. At least youth is coming forward. So you start acknowledging and appreciating, and these are also adopted, again, it helps a lot. Have to be clever, it helps to organize your thoughts and understand, what can be changed, what not be changed. So these kind of things have kept me sane. But also I've taken my time. I've had my own challenges. I've felt burnt out. I felt overwhelmed. I've had my own challenges. I used to balance my personal life, academics, managing organization, doing my own internships and career development. All of that all at once. I have felt overwhelmed with the amount of work. I would see people outside and I'd feel this is also my responsibility. ये भी मुझे करना है, इसको भी मुझे ठीक करना है. But you cannot. You are not God. You are not Messiah. You are not supposed to correct everything. So understanding that and going at a slower pace, taking one thing at a time, living one day at a time. This has become the biggest mantra of my current present, which is living one day at a time. Just, yesterday I was having a conversation with my parents and they were asking, what do you see yourself doing in the next few years? And I was like, I don't have a plan. I just go with the flow. The craziest thing I've done is that I've dropped out of a master's program. I was in Christ Bangalore just a few months ago. I was doing my master's. I was almost graduating, and I was like doing academically. I was very sound, and I just happened to drop out. I was like, I want to give more time to the society. I want to work with my organization, and this is not something I felt restricting somewhere, and I just dropped out. So I live one day at a time and I take risks. So these things have helped me to keep myself sane. So yeah, these are a few things.
Okay, so counting your blessings, name them one by one and, keep going, live one day at a time. That was great. And it is, I would like to say, it is so brave to, drop out of such a prestigious institute. And that too, when you were going to complete it. I mean, hats off to you for prioritizing, others' needs and your sanity.
Yes, that was difficult, but I'm glad I did it. Thank you.
Okay, so like before asking the last question, I would like to request our audience to like put their questions in the chat box, and in the end of the session, we'll address them one by one. On that note, to wrap up today's session, I would request you to share your personal advice for our audience, some of whom might be aiming to become future social activists like you.
Sure. I won't say these are advices. I'd say these are more of suggestions. I don't want to sound preachy. I'm not a learned person, so still learning, still in that process. A few things are number one, take baby steps. I think Ishta also said that, or Vaishnavi, take baby steps. We tend to take a lot at once and then overwhelm ourselves. So take baby steps. Slowly, steadily, you can do that. If you're particularly going to be in a change-making space like this, remember to validate your own emotions. A lot of times you might feel stressed, you might feel exhausted, you might feel discouraged, you might feel like quitting and thinking, why am I doing this at all? There's no change happening, or it's happening at such a slow pace, so why am I doing this? Validate your emotions, take your time, work on yourself. It's important to take time out for yourself as well. Third is, and this is very important, I've been a student of social work, and I've learned this from there. A lot of times when we want to do good, we do what we want, we not considering what the others need. So it's very important to understand the needs of the community instead of what you have to offer. So do a needs assessment, understand, go to people, talk to them, take time out, do a survey, and then do whatever you want to do, right? So instead of, a lot of times I see everybody is distributing stationery, everybody is distributing blankets. That is good, no doubt. But a lot of people might not need blankets. They might instead need shoes because they walk barefoot. So a little more consideration, and an assessment about that can help. And also thinking about long-term solutions, not just like immediate solution, but actually what's going to help them in the future, in the long term. Is it providing scholarships so that they can continue education? Is it providing a job or some a skill that they can be busy with? So understanding these things if you're going to be in the change making space. Besides this, I think choosing right role models is very important. We are in an age where social media has become very significant. There are lots of influencers, and we tend to sometimes take them as a role models. But remember, when you choose someone who started from a scratch, they are self-made, they have gone through struggles, they have overcome them, and they have done something good. Those people deserve to be your role models, and they don't necessarily have to be famous people, rich people, beautiful people. Doesn't have to be that. They don't have to come from Bollywood or some fraternity. They can be just your house help, who comes every day to your house to clean your house in any kind of temperature or weather. She's always there. So those kind of things, I think these are a few advices or like suggestions I can give to young people. And take care of yourself. Health is very, very important. I have been a mental health warrior, and a lot of times we tend to not take care of ourselves. So physical and mental health, very important. So these are a few things. Take care of yourselves and be happy.
So, as we all know that there are a lot of students here today of other societies as well, rather than NSS only. So, I hope
Yeah.
that they can take these advices and apply these in future. So, this brings us to the end of the podcast. NSS NCU is extremely grateful for your precious time, Sanjoli, and for imparting invaluable knowledge and wisdom to our audience.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, especially to NSS. You people spotted me. I don't know how you found me. You contacted me, and then you arranged this entire thing. Loved the conversation. I yearned for good conversation, and this was one of them. Loved the rapid fire games as well. It was great, initiative. And I really appreciate a Project Nari that you people are running, the NSS team at NCU. The first step you have taken towards building a better society by joining NSS. And everybody else here, thank you for your time. Thank you for patiently listening to me and to all of us. So, had a lovely evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjoli. So is it, can we take the questions now?
Yeah, we can. Just a minute. Akash, do you want to like unmute students, or do we take them from the chat only?
Okay, so I think emotes are available, so anybody who wants to ask a question can raise their hand.
That would be perfect. And we can just wait for 2 minutes.
Sure.
I'm not sure. Okay, so I'll start off with a question of my own.
Please.
So, you've been to some backward backward parts of society as well in your endeavors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you ever been in a situation where, uh, first of all, the men of the, let's say, a village, the men of the village have given resistance to your endeavors or your awareness programs, but moreover, the women also have shown some resistance to having their children, their daughters educated or going into the fields, working, and all sort of stuff.
Oh, very interesting question. Thank you for that. I think it was Akash, right? Thank you for that. I have been to a various villages, places, but I'm not exactly faced this particularly in villages. We tend to think, orthodox mindset only exists in villages. Actually, it also equally does in our urban areas. It's just that urban people are good at hiding it, and putting out a very sophisticated face outside. So I'd share a few instances where all of this has happened. One, yes, men have shown resistance, and a lot of times I and Ananya, we've been dismissed for our age. People would say, "Oh, they're too young, they don't know anything," or "Oh, it's just naya josh hai, this is fresh passion. It won't last for long." There've been elected representatives, people like Sarpanch and all, who have felt that we are doing this to contest elections and we'll take away their seats. So they felt insecure because we have a lot of society with supporting us, with a lot of people, so they felt insecure. So these have been some instances. There have been instances at, for example, we would go at bus stand and talk to drivers and passengers there about these issues. And a man, I remember, I was young, but it was a man came up to my dad and started fighting with him. He was almost violent, saying that, you don't understand, you come from these kind of families, you don't understand how unsafe girls are, how it's not possible, how we have to provide dowry and all of that. So he was right in some way, but he did not make sense in the way that, you cannot still abort a daughter because all of this is happening. So we were trying to have a peaceful dialogue, but he was getting violent, and things like these have happened. People argue because this is a very sensitive topic. The topic of gender is very sensitive, so these kind of things happen. There have been people generally, the school authorities, for instance, in Dharar, we went to the local government school to collaborate with them so that we could start Sushiksha in the school campus to reach more students. But they did not support us. They wanted, instead, they asked for funds from us. They said, "You get our school painted, you give us 3 to 4 lakh rupees, and then we'll work on Sushiksha." So these kind of things have happened. Again, they've resisted. It's not always been men, but they've also been people in important places and important positions of responsibility. There have been people who in Dharar who have prioritized free food and income over education. So kids won't come to Sushiksha in the initial days because they would go to some community meeting to get free food. So we had to convince them to come to the classes to understand the importance of education. Lots of times these kind of things have happened. Recently, when we were there for Project Buland working on menstrual hygiene, we went to a school to collaborate with them, and a school staff person, they asked us, "Why are you here?" We said, we want to do a pad distribution drive and an awareness session. They were like, "This is such a dirty topic, how can you dare to come to our school and talk about such an issue? We do not talk about these issues." And they literally shunned us out. Like, we were there at the school campus, they literally shunned us out. They were like, "We are not doing this." So we still, and this was in Karnal, this is not a village. So these kind of things happen, and you need to, sometimes we just laugh about it, but inside we also feel that, we have a long way to go. There are people, who keep such a mentality still. But more than this, more serious things have been faced by my father. He has taken some big adventures. He's offered to be he is offered to mediate between Naxalites and the Indian government to so that we can work towards peace. And he got death threats. He got, he got various kinds of threats. He has been told that his children will be kidnapped, so Ananya and I will be kidnapped. He's been told that our house will be lit on fire. He's been said that false raids will be done on our family. He's been told that, he'll be picked and killed. So these kind of things. He offered to be, he also contested presidential elections of India. So he wanted to come out and, wanted to make space for common man so that they can hold positions like the president of India. So again, then the same thing happened. So yes, this is the part of this journey and it keeps happening.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering. Like, yeah, thank you.
No problem. It was a bit long answer, but yeah, I have to share that.
Okay, I don't think we have more questions now.
Okay, I'll also just ask another. Okay, there is a question.
Great.
So we'll take the question first. Jivesh, you can turn on your mic, I think.
Okay, yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Hi, Sanjoli. It was absolutely a pleasure to hear you talk today. It was very inspiring. So
Thank
I
you.
guess my question for you would be, seeing as we're all the audience members here today are mostly are belong to the ages of from 19 to 20, right? So how would you like what type of contribution would you like us as a generation to commit? Like what do you think we can do to uplift the movement as a whole?
Absolutely. Hi, thank you so much for this question. Yes, it's important to talk about, how to go about it. We understand it is important. You understand my story, but you can have your own unique ways to, work towards building a better society. And that could include educating yourself. Very important. When you go out there speaking about a cause, you should have done your own homework. You should have known statistics, facts, causes of that, what is happening, the effects of that, and what can be done practically. So important to educate yourself, to spread a word, talk about it, speak up, use your social media, use your platforms, use your blogs or whatever skills you have, your art, whatever you have, public speaking skills. Use that to talk something constructive, something meaningful, to send out a message to people. Important to do that. Three, maybe volunteer with certain organizations, maybe intern with them, take some time out to spend with the society. There must be a lot of organizations in your own hometowns, in your own cities, wherever you are. So take time out to do that. Find out good organizations who are doing real work. Lots of them are also not, they just say that they're doing work but they're not, so it's important to find out that. Four, I think it's important that we just, we people are young. I know you people will go out and actually engage with the communities, but a lot of times our elders have seen that they want to do good work, but they do it in the name of charity. They just give out money. So after they've earned, a certain level of income, the surplus they want to give out. That alone is not social service. That's not social work. I think more important than that is actually charity of time and effort. We need to go out and sit with the communities and listen to them. We need to go out to an old age home, for example, to an orphanage, to say where transgenders live or sex workers live, places like these, and actually talk to them, understand. So these are a few things that can be done. And yes, volunteering, when you even it's not important like you leave everything. We all cannot be buddhas, we all cannot be saints and sages, that we can leave everything and we walk on this path. It's important to incorporate social responsibility and ethics into your own careers and professions. So if you're a businessman, remember to take care of your employees, remember to take care of their mental health. You don't exploit that, you don't exploit the environment, take care of all of that. If you are an artist, remember how you can incorporate these kind of things in your own careers. So there's no place where you cannot incorporate responsibility. So your everyday choices, your everyday actions should reflect that sense of change. We all are agents of change. And it's important to realize our power. A lot of us, we think that, we give up. कि system ऐसा है, things are not changing, ये वो है. But remember, you are very powerful. One person can do a lot, and thousands, if they come together, can do massive things. So remember that, and yes, become a responsible citizen and spread a word. That's it. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Great. So thank you so much, Sanjoli. It was a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vaishnavi and Ishita and Samarth, everyone, the entire team. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Thanks a lot for having this time with us.
Oh, you don't have to say that. Thank you, and all the best with your future endeavors. Thank you.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
I hope I can come to NCU sometime and meet you all personally.
Sure,
Sure.
definitely.
We're looking forward.
If this COVID thing gets a bit okay, then we will sure have a one-on-one face-to-face meet.
Done. Looking forward to that. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for being here. Attendance will be downloaded. You guys can leave.
Yeah, attendance has been downloaded. Thank you for having attended the podcast. You can leave now. Have a great day. Also, it is currently 6:09. The seminar ended at 6:07. Anybody who does not leave this meeting by 6:20 will not be provided attendance.
काश रिकॉर्डिंग हम भी स्टॉप कर सकते हैं ना?
Rhythm recording.
स्टॉप रिकॉर्डिंग का ऑप्शन तो
मैं कर रहा हूँ